Hello, beautiful humans. I am back in my cute little apartment in Barcelona, and I'm here to talk to you about my journey when it comes to drinking alcohol. So I stopped drinking alcohol 2 years ago. It was the 1st of January 2023, and I woke up with probably one of the most awful, like the worst hangover I've ever had in my life. And it wasn't just physical, it was emotional and spiritual, energetical. I just felt so disconnected from myself, and I just felt so bad. And this came after 2 weeks of being in Ireland for Christmas and then being in the Netherlands for New Year's for a week. And basically I had just been drinking every day, and I think my liver was just in such a bad state. And I hadn't even drunk that much on New Year's Eve, but I woke up the next morning feeling terrible, and I couldn't even stand up. Like physically, I had to be horizontal because otherwise I would be getting sick. So I remember like the whole day I was lying down, and I was even supposed to meet up with a friend that evening in another place, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can still make it. And like 9 p.m. came around and I was like, yeah, maybe I could make it. And I stood up and I was just like, no, I had to lie down. And then 10 p.m. came around, I was like, maybe I feel a bit better now. And like every hour passed by and I was like, maybe I feel better. But every time I just did not, my body was just like, no, you need to just do nothing, lie down, take it easy. I had been feeling like I was getting some signs from the universe about drinking. Even the summer before that, I wanted to like not drink for like a week or something. And I remember I went on a date and I was just drinking non-alcoholic beers, and then we went to another place and then I started drinking. I had a whiskey neat, and I think it was mostly because of the nerves, but it was just like, like I was supposed to not drink and now I'm drinking because of my nerves and because I'm in this situation, and I felt like I needed something to get through that. So that was something that I remember from that summer. And then around September, I believe, I wanted to do another week of no drinking, and then I went out on a Wednesday just for dinner, and I was like, oh, let's get some tapas and let's have a glass of red wine. Like a glass of red wine with your tapas doesn't hurt. And so I had a glass of red wine, and then that glass of red wine turned into another glass of red wine and another glass and another glass, and then we went to a whiskey place, and I'm pretty sure I had some shots of whiskey, and I ended up getting lost on my way home. I cycled in the wrong direction, and I only realized like 10 minutes or 15 minutes later. If you're familiar in Barcelona, I ended up in Encants. I started off in Urquinaona and I ended up in Encants. I live near Plaza España, so I was late for work the next morning because my phone hadn't charged and I had just passed out when I got home, so my alarm didn't go off. And just little things like this. And then I wanted to take a month break, I think around October, November. And I remember the first weekend I went to a friend's place, and like my friend made me a drink, and I was like, well, like it's made now, like why should I not drink it? And so I drank that. And then I think I did actually stop drinking for 3 weeks after that. And then Christmas came around and I had a bit of a bender, and then I just woke up on that day, on the 1st of January, and I thought, Orla, this is, if you're waiting for a sign like this, let this be it. And it just felt really like in my mind, on that day, I really just felt like something shifted, like I was receiving some downloads or whatever, and I really just thought, okay, I need to not drink for 6 months. 6 months. And I said this to my friend Molly, who I was staying with at the time in the Netherlands, and she was like, Orla, do you not think that's a bit extreme, 6 months? And I was like, no, I felt that in my body, like I need to do 6 months. And then funnily enough, I met up with the friend that I was supposed to meet up on that day, on the 1st of January, and I told her about all of this that I experienced, and she was like, oh, that's so funny, I've just done 6 months of sobriety. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, well, there's another sign that you're on the right path. And it all seemed to add up. And actually from that moment on, it was easy. Like I felt it in my body. It was like a decision that I made with my entire being that I did not want to drink alcohol. for 6 months. I wanted to accomplish this goal for myself, and there was just such a big desire there that I was able to do it. Well, funnily enough, I went to Madrid in like March or so to meet up with this same friend who had also been sober, and we went to a restaurant with her and her boyfriend, and after our meal they gave us like a shot of, I don't even remember what it was, but like they give you a shot of something after your meal to like digest. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm so grateful that I had her in that situation, because she was like, you know, it's okay. It's like part of like, it's a cultural thing. It's like, it's an experience. So let's just take one sip and we can give the rest to my boyfriend. So we just had one sip and we enjoyed the experience, and that was it. And like, I didn't need any more than that. And I didn't even really want it in the first place, but it was part of the whole dinner and day and whatever. So I'm also happy that there was like this sense of non-extremism. Like, it doesn't have to be so extreme. Like, there can be exceptions to the rule. And then the 6 month mark came around and I was in Ireland for this day, so the 1st of July. And I remember thinking, wow, I haven't drank for 6 months. I should celebrate with a pint of Guinness while I'm here in Ireland. And I remember even thinking that, but also feeling at the same time like, it doesn't really make sense actually in my head. And I had a few pints anyways while I was in Ireland. And I think it was really hard in Ireland not to drink, because it's also part of the culture. It's part of like, you know, you go to the pub, and that's one of the few things that you can do in Ireland, and it's one of the few ways that people come together, I feel. So I did have a few pints in Ireland that summer, but actually every time that I did drink, I just felt like, actually I don't need this and I don't really want it. I kind of felt like I was doing it because it was like, it kind of reminded me of this like cultural experience that I had in Madrid. Is like, oh yeah, it's part of the culture, but then in Ireland it just felt like I'm also doing it to please the people around me and to make them not feel uncomfortable. Anyways, from then on I had like sips here and there. In general, I feel like my body has just completely changed. The reaction that my body has to alcohol. I don't even like alcohol anymore. I smell beer and I smell wine when I'm like pouring it for my mom or whatever, if I'm like around friends, and I'm like, actually I don't even really like it anymore. And like, beer makes me feel bloated and it makes me feel full. And I think I'm really tuning into like the experiences that my body has when I drink alcohol, and actually I don't like it that much. What I liked about alcohol before is that it enabled me to feel more comfortable myself in social situations mostly, and especially like going on dates or meeting new people. Like, it was just easier if I had a drink and I felt more relaxed. And I do have an experience with drinking a lot because, well, I'm Irish. I had worked in hospitality since I was 17 up until the age of like 20, 21, 22. So those years were just like drinking every day basically. And even if I wasn't working, I would go to the pub or go to the restaurant or where I worked, and I'd hang out with the people that I worked with, because those were my main friends or my main friend groups. I created this idea that like, it's okay to drink every day, and like, I'm so sad for my liver. I'm like, I'm so sorry for what I put you through. I remember thinking like, oh, you know, drinking is part of my life, and like I studied to become a brewer. Like, I'm a certified brewer. I know how to make beer. I worked in a brewery for 2 years, and it was very much like, alcohol was a very big part of my life, and now it's a part of my life in the fact that I don't engage with it. But it's just so much more satisfying to know that I can handle any situation without any crutch, such as alcohol. And I must say that like, after I stopped drinking alcohol, I started smoking more weed, and I kind of used that for social situations. But actually in the last year I've stopped smoking as much as well, because I've also been traveling a lot, and so it's not always easy to get. My approach now to weed is very holistic, let's say, and it's very like conscientious. When I smoke, I want to do it with an intention. If I had any tips, surround yourself with people who support you if you are looking into lowering the amount of alcohol that you drink, or if you're thinking about stopping completely, it's going to be so important to surround yourself with people who support that decision. I'm so grateful for the people that I had in my life, that I still have in my life, who support me and who have supported me in the first 6 months, because those first 6 months were pivotal, and I needed that to be able to prove to myself that I can do this, and that I don't need alcohol, and that I don't need alcohol to have the friends that I have, or to be who I am around the people that I love and the people that love me. I can be myself around them without having to drink alcohol. And not everyone understood it, but I also think that these are people who have a more healthy relationship with alcohol, who didn't, they know their boundaries, they know their limits. And for me, I'm a very extreme person. I love to search my limits, and so in this case, it's also been very refreshing to be able to like approach this mission with a sense of, you know, this doesn't have to be forever, and I didn't join any AA groups or anything, and I don't feel like, you know, like I have to like eliminate it from my life for like completely forever. And if I drink something, it doesn't mean that that's a mistake. It's just that I'm trying something and I'm seeing what the effect is, and I'm seeing what I can learn from that experience. So it's a much more chill way to approach things. Like if you make a mistake, that's okay. Like if we didn't make mistakes, life would be so boring. Everything would be perfect, and what even is perfect? I think the goal is to try and do your best with the best awareness that you can have, and to bring clarity and to bring peace and to bring gentle, loving awareness to your actions and to the things that you do in your life and the way that you move through life. My biggest tip is surround yourself with people who support you. The people who you surround yourself with is going to be the most important thing in life in general, I think. Sometimes it is important to step away from the people that you're hanging around with a lot, to really come back to, okay, well, what is important to me? What are my values? How do I like to spend my time? And do the people that I have in my life support all of these things that I want to do in my life? And do these people align with my values? Those are really important questions to ask yourself, no matter in what stage of life you're in. It's so important to surround yourself with people that love you and that accept you. It can be a very lonely thing if you do realize that the people you've surrounded yourself with aren't there for you like completely. And I just want to reassure you that you do not have to be lonely by being alone. Being alone can actually be one of the most comforting things in the world. It's such a comforting thing to create a relationship with yourself that is loving and kind. Once you do that, you will see that you can spread this kindness and this loveliness towards others around you, and then you will start attracting the people who align with you and with who you are. Be kind to yourself always. Bring loving awareness to what you do, who you are, and everything will be okay. Everything will be grand. Love you.